It is Songwriters Alive with Tom Cooney every Monday night at 7 o'clock Eastern Time on rockingthevalley.com and on Tom Cooney Music on Facebook. Our special guest tonight, Monday, November 9th, Greater Philadelphia singer, songwriter, and keyboardist, Brent Ellison. Brent, thank you so much for joining us tonight.
Thank you, Tom.
Great to see you again. I know Brent from the Philadelphia Area Songwriters Alliance, PASA, a group of songwriters currently being run by Rob Lincoln and Heidi Hoskins and Christine Winchester Perry, a very supportive and creative group of folks, and have had the joy of hearing Brent play at some of the house concerts. And is just a wonderful songwriter, as you're going to find out tonight. Any songwriters listening or are looking for a group that is supportive and creative, with open ears and open arms, Philadelphia Area Songwriters Alliance, PASA Songs on Facebook is a great option for you. Make sure that you reach out to them. Brent, it is great to see you again, and I'm trying to think, I probably was last on a virtual open mic with you, I think, probably.
Yeah, I think we were a few weeks ago.
Yeah. It is always great to hear your music.
And I tuned in last week to hear Lisa Jeanette, who's a favorite of mine. She did a great job.
Oh, she did. She really did. Brent's referring to our last episode, Lisa Jeanette. And you can find that on rockingthevalley.com, that episode. It's a post in my stream, and it's also on my YouTube page, Tom Cooney. It was a great session. All of our sessions are like that, as folks in the audience know, or if you're new and you don't know, it's 3 rounds of music. And then the rest of the time is all about our guest artist, their background, their music, where you can find their music, what they think about the songwriting craft, and really whatever else that the artist wants to talk about. The third layer is a little sprinkling. We try to talk about the craft of songwriting a little bit. Anything that the songwriter wants to share about that song, or what they think about songwriting, or their journey in the songwriting world per se. So that's how things work right now. Brent, any questions before we get our rounds of music going, before I open up for you?
Will I get a little less nervous as we go on?
I was going to ask myself that in like 2 seconds. Let me guess this. I think you're an introvert like me.
Until I get going.
Be warned, folks. I don't ever get going. So for me, the introvert stays with me, and the performance part is always harrowing. So that being said, I have a harvest song for this time of year. Now that the harvest is in, it's a great song to play this time of year. It's called Come the Harvest. We hoe the row, we plant the seed. We arch the bow, we pull the weed. We water when parched, we trim to help grow. We tend our fields, we hope to sow. Come the harvest, may our baskets fill by our sweat, by our prayer, by our goodwill. We do what we can, we do our world. Come the harvest. We turn the cheek, we sheathe the sword. The way of peace is its own reward. Well, everything in life, well, it comes and goes. Living in love is how we sow. Our baskets fill by our sweat, by our prayer, and by our goodwill. We give love away, we hope for the best, and share with this world come the harvest. I'd say about the craft, and I always love playing at this time of year too. So, yeah, yeah,
I love the challenge of writing for a particular opportunity. Um, it's a wonderful thing to either be given a text or an idea, or you know, I haven't finished it yet, but right now I'm writing a song about the idea of trying to unite our country. We're so divided, and
wow,
it's not finished yet, but we have more that unites us than divides us, or hopefully so.
yes,
you know, and there's only one America, or is there only one America? And let's say that there is. That's what I want. The song that I'm writing is "There's Only One America," and so
right.
you're given an idea of the text that you wrote this song. I love the song; it's beautiful.
Thank you very
Yeah,
much. Yeah, yeah, the opportunities are great. Um, Not for Coltrane, Michael Duck, a songwriter from Lehigh Valley area. He and I give each other a quarterly songwriter challenge, and it could be a single word, it could be a phrase or a thought, and the other person has 3 months to come up with anything they want in the way that that sparks them. And like a lot of things, it gets completed as those closely as those 3 months come to their deadline toward the end. But it's like you say, the opportunity is kind of great. You're faced with something, you know.
well, it sparks creativity and gives us a challenge.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
love it.
it does. Well, so what were you thinking of sharing with folks for the first round before we get to after your first song? We'll get to talk about your background a bit and uh, what were you thinking about?
Well, it's interesting. You sing a song about fall. I grew up in Indonesia, and it's right on the tropics, on the equator, and fall was not in the vocabulary. There were no seasons, so I'm going to sing this song called "Back Home," and you know, home for us. The song is going to break it down. Um, Home for me was coconut trees and mangoes. We had mango trees in our backyard and 18 coconut trees, and um, when I did two albums. This song was on the second album, and the producer said, there's a phrase in here, wood smoke on the breeze. And he said, no one's going to get that. He said, a cool ocean breeze. Well, we put cool ocean breeze on there, but I'm going to sing it tonight with the original, which is wood smoke on the breeze and moonlight on the water, whispering palm trees. And I hear a song from my childhood. That song was, those were the days, my friend. I remember hearing that when I was 6 years old over AFRTS, which is American Armed Forces Services Radio, with my dad, and it all comes back, and the line is sitting there right there on Main Street by the railroad track. Well, in Main Street in Central Java, in the town of Solo, Surakarta, Indonesia, there was a train track that used to bring the sugar cane that went right down the street. And one time I fell on the train track right as the train was coming by, and my sister wasn't sure till after the train had come by that I hadn't been
Oh my
squashed by the train. So
gosh.
these are really lines from my childhood, and let's see what else is in there. It's south of the equator, around the other side. So home for me was very different than a lot of people that would listen to this song, but it's home to me.
Yeah.
And the bridge, I I was just thinking, I'd forgotten the bridge came to me when I went back about 5 years before the big tsunami, and I you write a song and you look back later and it turns out to maybe not prophetic, but looking back, wow, it has a different meaning looking back. I, the third verse is, I stood at the corner of two streets that I knew, recognizing nothing. It was all brand new. I went back to Indonesia after having been gone 20 years, and you knew the intersection. You'd been there before, but you didn't recognize anything.
Wow.
Well, I wrote it before the tsunami, but after the tsunami, in the places where we were on another island. We were on Java. The tsunami was up in northern Sumatra. You see pictures of that, and you see, and like here after Katrina and stuff, you know, you're standing at the intersection of two streets that used to be there, but nothing is there anymore.
Yeah.
And so it had a whole new meaning. And what are some more lyrics? Not a sign we'd ever lived there, not a single trace, just the track of a tear running down my face.
Wow.
And if all we have left are the memories, as long as I can still remember, it will always be.
That's true.
And then I had an uncle who died of Alzheimer's. And it exists as long as you can remember, but what happens when you can't remember anymore? And I have friends who've written I've written the songs about "I Will Remember For You."
Right.
So back home is special, and I've always wanted to take another trip to Indonesia again. Well, if my health will permit, well, no, it's if COVID will ever permit again.
Yeah.
And that just tugs at my heart. I think I have a friend or two from my high school in Indonesia that we graduated from. Will we ever get to go back again?
Yeah. Well, the good news on
Anyway.
the vaccine. The good news on the vaccine today hopefully means that you'll you'll get to do that.
Yes. So that's a long intro to a song, but now you know a little bit more about me. Yep. So I've been in Philadelphia since 1986. I'm an accidental Philadelphian, but
A proud
would
one.
be. Let's see if I can play the song now. Let's see. Well, I like to remember, but it aches when I do. When I think of past and I remember you. Now the places have all grown up, and so have we. But on days like today, I would rather be back home. Back home. But it's south of the equator, on the other side, under smoking volcanoes and tropical skies, where everything is greener than a springtime lawn, and the rice fields are golden in the misty dawn. Back home, I cry when I remember. Back home, coconuts and mangoes, wood smoke on the breeze, moonlight on the water, whispering palm trees. I hear a song from my childhood, and it all comes back, and I'm right there on Main Street on that railroad track. Back home, I think it's time to go back home. So I sailed across the ocean, chasing memories, visited the places that meant a lot to me. So much I had forgotten, it was good to be back home. And yet I stood at the corner of two streets that I knew, recognizing nothing, it was all brand new. Not a sign we'd ever lived there, not a single trace, not a track, just the track of a tear running down my face. You're gone, and I'm a stranger on my own street. Back home, back home. Where do you go when you can't go back home? If all that we have left are the memories, long as I can still remember, it will always be.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Thank you.
Beautiful song. So you were born in Indonesia?
I was in the middle of first grade.
Of course. Got it. Yeah.
I'm sorry. I'm a piano pedal chaser. That's my hobby.
That's fine. I, your dad's in the armed forces. You were listening to armed forces radio, and
No, my mom and dad were Baptist missionaries.
oh, I see.
Yeah, my dad was a pastor, and we went. They were this Baptist missionaries. So I have a younger sister. She's 3 years younger than myself, and we went there. I came back to go to college, and my sister after me. But mom and dad were there 33 years. They worked all over Southeast Asia.
Wow, that's
Yeah,
amazing.
yeah.
And for folks in the audience, when you go looking at Brent's music, we'll look at some of his websites where you can find his music in a second. And you can see there is a lot of spiritual and gospel stuff that he writes, as well as that beautiful song about home that you just heard. So that kind of locks in and makes sense where you have that kind of background. How soon did you start writing spiritual and gospel things?
Let's see. I wrote my first song when I was a freshman in high school, but in my 20s, late 20s, 30s.
Yeah. Yeah.
Been writing for a while.
Yeah, good. Wonderful. Wonderful. Let's take a quick look at some of these things. You'll excuse me while I peer into my 32-inch monitor over here on the side, Brent. And
What do
I
we ever do with small monitors?
oh no, even with the 32-inch, this is sad, Brent. Even the 32-inch, I'm squinting. This is so bad. Here we go. So I want to tell you what someone has written about Brent, as he gave you a little hint about his Philadelphia background and his Indonesia background. One of the writers, and I think this is from your Amazon Music header page, a passionate. No, this is from you. This is from
Uh-oh.
on your Reverb Nation one. A passionate, gonna write till I die songwriter. Thing two. I live near Philadelphia. I've lived there, Texas, Indonesia, Georgia. I write about things that move me. I want to write songs that move you, make you cry, reach out and love, and be a better person. I think that greatly captures the body of work that I've been listening to in depth the last week. That's a great way to put it.
Well, I appreciate you listening to my music. Thank you for listening.
Oh, it has been fun. It has been, I tell you, it is enjoyable. Enjoyable. The Philadelphia area Songwriters Alliance had the same thing written up as well. I can tell you, this is from Rob Lincoln. Brent Ellison's an outstanding songwriter who writes impassioned songs in styles ranging from country to pop to singer-songwriter. His mellow, expressive voice enriches the poignancy of his eloquent lyrics, and his performances are truly a joy to hear. And then he talks about your background. And I think probably the last thing that I'll say, well, hopefully you're not turning too red. This is the Amazon editorial review one from your page, where they talk about the diversity of your feelings and all the things that you write. Pain touched by grace. Listen, feel, cry, rest, hope. A diverse range of styles. Christian, country, Americana, reminding you of James Taylor, Boss Gags, Bobby Mason, Carole King, or Fernando Ortega smoothie kind of sound. It is very versatile, so that hopefully I haven't embarrassed you too much. So.
I'll be leaving now.
Let me go back to go back to our screen and make sure I am sharing correctly. I need to share a screen. Spotify. This should be your Spotify page. Tell me you're seeing it, please. Are you seeing the Spotify page, Brent?
Oh, when I go to chat, I am.
Okay, great. Good, yeah. Yeah, this is a number of places where you can get Brent's music. Like everyone, you can find his stuff on Amazon Music and Spotify and Reverb Nation. And if you just look in, Brent Ellison, you'll find him. This is the Spotify page. And as you can see, the bulk of what is here is from his initial album, a wonderful, wonderful album called Harbor of Grace. and a title song that will just move you. Um, there's one song on here, Brent, which is on your Spotify page, which is not from Harbor of Grace. It looks like it's about you in Texas.
Oh yeah, that was off the first album. In this moment, it's a bonus track.
Oh, wow.
I don't think I'd ever do a bonus track again because it's a sort of a hidden thing that was a fad back then.
I see. Yeah,
But
it is a
yeah,
great song about Texas. It's beautiful. It is beautiful.
I
So
think I'm going to sing a Texas song a little bit.
good.
Another Texas song.
So that is the first page. You can get an example of what's out on all the streaming services like Amazon and Spotify. You'll see Brent's music. The discography you can see right here too. Harbor of Grace we mentioned. Beautiful album. Great production on Harbor of Grace, by the way, Brent. Where was that done?
Thank you. A cousin of one of my missionary kid cousins that we grew up with had recorded in Nashville professionally for many years. His name was Steve Pinkston. So we did tracks in Nashville, professional tracks in Nashville, then finished it off in Atlanta in his home studio. So it was professionally done. Both of the albums were recorded in Nashville and in Atlanta.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they're both so well done.
Oh, thank you.
The second one Brent referred to is In This Moment, is the other one in the discography that you see there. And we'll go to the page for In This Moment, and there you can see it.
Oh, thank you so much, Tom.
No, this stuff is all just so wonderful. That's a great picture of you there. That kind of the pensive looking down.
Yeah, and this moment was the first one, and then Harbor of Grace was the second.
Yes.
And we, like we were speaking, both of us have more than enough songs for multiple albums. It's just a matter of finances and time, mainly finances. So
Yeah. Well, for me, that's it's the time, and it's COVID for me now. I've got about 7 or 8 songs done for an EP, but they need to be polished back in my engineer's studio before they
okay,
before they go for mastering. And I'm hoping in a few months that should be fine. But thank you for mentioning that. Yes, I do have a backlog of a couple of dozen tunes that are pretty good. There's a whole bunch more that aren't so good. But yeah, as you know, you keep writing. It's a craft. You keep writing it. You're bound to get better at it. So I'm also looking forward to doing something after my EP to get out later next year. And there's the gas. I understand, and I've heard, I think you mentioned this at one of the house concerts, that you've started thinking about what your third release might be, that you're kind of starting to lay some seeds in your mind about that.
oh, I've got plenty of seeds. I got all I need is money and time.
Oh, oh, you are ready. Oh, you know what you want to do.
Oh yeah,
That's
yeah. Just need to jump on it.
awesome. That is
So,
good news.
and you know what? We always need people to encourage us, and I've got some of those, and you do too. So
Yes. Yeah, it's a big thing that helps us. Um,
I'm setting my song set up. It's saying that we don't
yeah.
stand alone. We don't stand alone. We songwriters do we?
No, no. A lot of the craft is alone, but the craft never finishes unless we're sharing it. And yeah, it is. Yeah, everything is mixes together. The whole world. It's beautiful. You keep your ears open. It's all good.
One of the great things about Zoom is these Pasa House concerts on Zoom. They are open to anybody. I've had my friends across the country from California to Texas join in on them. And right now, for during COVID, they're every 2 weeks instead of once a month. So that's been a lot of fun. You know,
That's a good
I
point.
could I could invite people to them who could never come otherwise.
That's wonderful.
And although when we have them in person, we bring snacks and have a great time gathering in these different people's homes. We can still gather in a great way now that we're not able to do so in person. It's been great.
Yeah, it's wonderful. I've been at a couple of virtual open mics I have not been to in a long, long time recently. The Kennett Flash open mic, which was a wonderful evening, and the Steel City Coffee House virtual
Wow.
open.
Yeah.
And I had played live at Steel City like 17 years ago when I first moved to Philadelphia. And I played once or twice after that. And it was so interesting being back there virtually. It was nice. Nice people. Nice people.
Great.
That is neat. Hey, this is Songwriters Alive with Tom Cooney. We're coming up on the half hour into the show. It's every Monday night, 7 p.m. Eastern Time. We're on rockingthevalley.com. You should be able to find this on Tom Cooney on Facebook as well. Our guest tonight is Brent Ellison, a singer-songwriter from Greater Philadelphia. We've just gotten to hear his first song. We've gotten to talk about that song. We've talked about some of his background. We just took a look at his great Spotify page. Really good place to look for his music. And we're going to start the second round of music. I'll open up again, then Brent will do something, and then we're going to take a look at a couple of more of Brent's pages as well. We're so happy that you've joined us and that you're enjoying the evening. Thank you. You just talked about standing, Brent, standing and not standing alone. This is a song I wrote for my daughter's confirmation. When I was a young child, crawling on my knees, my parents' hand smiled down at me and said, "Let me help you, please." And I tried to rise. I tried as hard as I can. I felt the love in their eyes, and I knew I will stand. Now they say I'm at the age of reason, that I can weather any season, but this world can be so rough. I try as hard as I can, but now I'm powered by God's love, so I know I will stand for love and truth and honor. Stand. I feel the Spirit on the water. When compassion is the call, when peace must be at hand, when I see my brother fall, from this day on, I will stand. Thank you all for being here today. As this great door opens to help me on my way, I ask you please renew this promise if you can, 'cause this world needs so much love. So today, rise with me and stand for love and truth and honor. Stand. I feel the Spirit on the water. When compassion is the call, when faith must be at hand, when I see my sister fall from this day on. I will stand. Thank you. Thank you. I actually got choked up a little bit halfway through there. Amazing. Yeah,
How old is she?
she's a senior in high school. I have a couple of daughters from my first marriage that are adults and have their own lives. And I have a daughter who's a senior in high school who's been doing her senior year virtually and has just been reacted to what's going on so maturely and kept her focus. And I don't know if I could do what she's doing. She's an inspiration. And so we're finishing all our college applications now. And so I feel blessed. So it's a good kid. She's wonderful and smart and athletic, or as my brothers like to explain it to me, he gets everything that skips a generation. So that's why she does. That's why she has all those things. Oh my. So yeah. So that I wrote that for her confirmation quite a number of years ago. It's called "I Will Stand." Our guest tonight is Brent Ellison, and as you can tell, Brent, I write a lot of different kinds of things, but I'm pulling out a few of my spiritual or gospel tunes tonight. Or the first one had like a gospel influence. That one was the same kind of thing. Kind of in honor of the bulk of a lot of your songwriting is the wonderful spiritual and gospel stuff. And so I wanted to make sure I'm trying to mix in a little bit with what you're bringing to the table as well. So,
Thank you.
so for the second round, let's get on to the second round on your half. And what were you thinking of sharing with folks?
The kindness of strangers. You know, you think of a phrase will come to me. How do songs come? They come through ideas and concepts, and something will strike me. I send an email to myself with usually just a title. Some days it's 2 or 3 or 4. Sometimes it's just one, or not even, sometimes it's rarely one a week. Most years it's 200 or 300 a year.
Wow.
And I just, God, when am I going to have time to do anything with these? So I'm a part of a songwriting group where we get together usually twice a year and write over a weekend several songs together. I would be part of a trio of people writing 4 songs over a weekend, but I also write a lot of songs alone. And so I digress. Anyway, the idea of this song was, how does grace come to you? Through your friends, but also through the kindness of strangers. And after I wrote this song, you see people opening doors for people at Wawa, but just kindness comes through so many different ways, and we've seen it through COVID, and people just being kind to each other. And we've also come through a season of people not being kind to each other. But after I wrote this song, it's just put me in tune with how people are generous and kind to each other. It's anything from giving someone your seat on the bus to whatever. But
Wonderful.
I'll have to share the song with you. And when I decided I want to write the song, some songs come easy and some songs come hard, and I'm not sure that I have this song finished yet because I'm not quite sure that the second verse is as universal as I want it to be.
Yeah.
But this is an important song to me, and I want it to be special. I want it. I want everyone to get it. And I've got a friend, and I'm going to name her on the radio. I'm going to name you Liz Miller.
He's
Liz
wonderful.
Miller. Liz Miller says the song does not need an introduction! Exclamation point! Exclamation point! And this is true. So we're part of Nashville Songwriters Association. So a good song does not need an introduction. You don't need to have to say what it's about. So I wasn't telling you about that song. I'm justifying myself so that Liz won't slash me later. Anyway, so so a good song doesn't need an introduction. I just wanted to tell you about that song, but oh my goodness, and sometimes I just talk too much. Here we go. I don't know where I got my soul from. You know what? I grew up in Indonesia,
Yeah.
and I didn't know any African American people. And I remember we came back to the States in 5th grade and 10th grade and spent them in Atlanta. But I remember in 10th grade in Lithonia, a suburb of Atlanta, and being in choir. And one day, an African American high school came. And I remember when they sang, "Let us break bread together
Yeah.
on our knees." I remember how moved I was. I was moved and transported by that
Yeah.
experience. And then back in Indonesia in 9th grade, someone handed me the sheet music to "Lord, listen to your children praying. Send us power, send us love, send us grace." And I played it. They said, "How did you learn? How did you know how to play that so correct? So
Yeah.
with the soul that you did?" So I don't know, but I've got some soul in me, and
That's a good thing.
so there's some of that in this song. See if I can do it right now. Like a tree all alone on a hilltop, standing there in the cold winter wind. I have heard the birds sing and longed for the spring and the sun on my branches again. It's been said that no man's an island. I have tried, but could not prove wrong. When I did, all my days got lost in the haze. I'm glad at last I found my song. I don't stand alone on my own. I am nothing. The longer I'm here, the more it is clear, so clear to me. God's tender care is everywhere, and He reminds me through the kindness of strangers and the love of friends. I don't stand alone on my own. I am nothing. The longer I'm here, the more it is clear, so clear to me. God's tender care is everywhere, and He reminds me that through the kindness of strangers and the love of good friends, God's tender care is everywhere, and He reminds me through the kindness of strangers and the love of good friends.
Oh, what a beautiful song.
Thank you.
Very beautiful. And wise words at that.
I believe they're true.
Yeah.
Oh, it's good to be here, Tom. Thank you so much.
Oh, thanks for coming. It's good to chat with you. It reminds me of one bit of lyric from your songs I was listening to. There's a really, I forgot the title of it, I'm sorry. It's a very bouncy solo song you do, of just you and your piano. Really happy, effusive stuff about a wonderful day. Just
Beautiful day.
beautiful day, yeah, excuse me.
Beautiful days.
And then at the end you shout out, don't forget to say thank you.
Yeah. I almost did that one tonight.
It is, that is just wonderful. So I'm looking for another page here, excuse me, on the notes, and I will do this. Excuse me. Now you write for the again. You're in the Nashville Songwriters Association writing group, which is a national group, international too as well, and you do write some for the Southern gospel, quote unquote, music space as well. And you've had some of your songs picked up there, and you've co-written some songs in that space.
Yeah.
Yeah, good.
Yeah, I'm trying to.
Yeah, good. Now, was one of them Doug Anderson do one of them?
Yes. Uh-huh.
Yeah, he did. I don't know how he did it on his release, The Only One, and Doug has been nominated for a bunch of very prestigious awards, and just an example of one of the songs where Brent's songwriting got picked up. A song he did with Wayne Hown and with Daryl Johnson called I Don't Know How He Did It. And the person reviewed that, as you could just tell the gospel swing in Brent's last song, the person reviewed that song, I Don't Know How He Did It, said, it harkens back to the old Andre Crouch tunes of the 70s. Wow. One of my favorite artists to listen to, Andre Crouch.
Yeah. I mentioned going to a retreat twice a year and writing with some folks. That was written at one of those. That was a privilege to be able to write with those guys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's very, very wonderful. Now, did the Perrys pick up one of your tunes, It's Not Here to Stay, also?
Yes. Uh-huh.
Yeah. So that's really neat. Your writing and your stuff can get picked up by these different groups, and that's wonderful.
Yeah, I'm very privileged to
Yeah.
know some of those folks.
Yeah. Now, what would you say to some of the aspiring or younger songwriters in our crowd about what things you might want to think about when you're writing that can help you target toward a market? I understand you're always trying to do what's in your heart or in your head, but sometimes, like for the Nashville market, things have to be crafted a certain way. Have you run into that in some of these co-write songwriting efforts where there are some things you have to think about.
I think you really need to know the genre.
Yeah.
Stick with good songwriting principles. Um, if you're wanting to write for the Christian market, um, I started going to a once a year a seminar conference out in St. Louis called Write About Jesus, um, that I kept going back to because I've learned so much from it and met so many great people. That's where these relationships and these cuts have come out of the relationships that I've developed there. Write About Jesus. We had it online this year in spite of COVID, and it's been such a wonderful thing for me. I would highly recommend it. If you're into writing Christian music, it's a definite must attend.
Right.
Writeaboutjesus.com. And anything associated with NSAI has been great. But the in a way that locally the pasamusic.org has been a family and a welcoming family. Write About Jesus has been a very welcoming family for anyone interested in writing Christian music. So honing your craft, learning anything that you can, hanging out with other songwriters. Um, no one knows it all, and I tend to be more of an isolationist than I need to be. I think hanging out with other folks, just rubbing shoulders and learning anything you can from other people, taking the opportunity to dare to write with other folks. You can always learn something from someone else.
Yeah.
Going to open mics and daring to sing your songs, asking for feedback, getting feedback from others,
Yeah.
and being humble enough to let someone else speak into your life and into your songs. Because none of our songs are perfect.
Right.
And there's always something to learn, and there's always power in rewriting a song.
Oh, yes. Yes.
Yeah. All the pros rewrite their songs.
Yeah. A
And
lot.
studying the songs that you like, studying the songs that you love, looking at the lyrics of them, listening to them. There's a lot to learn there.
Yeah. That is all wonderful advice for our aspiring and younger songwriters in the audience. Make sure you're aligned with groups. Make sure you're honing your craft. Make sure you know your market and the kind of music you like, and keep at it. Keep that eraser on that
Keep
end of
at
that
it.
pencil.
And don't feel like you have to spend a lot of money at every turn to learn about songwriting. Um, it's Don't consider it a pay for play environment. Don't get into that trap. Try to find some of the free things that you can learn for songwriting.
I would
Yeah,
definitely do that. Yeah.
yeah,
I would say that my only last comment on that would be it's an experiential thing.
yes,
You get better by doing it. So you just keep writing, you keep doing it. Yeah. Yeah.
and don't give up.
Don't give up. It's
If
all,
you're passionate about it, it will drive you. If you decide that you can't do without it,
yes.
which is
Yeah.
you and I both, we're doing it because it's something we have a burning desire to do.
Yeah, very much. And that will come through in the music. That's a wonderful advice. Thanks for
Yeah.
sharing that with our audience, Brent. Let's take a quick peek at a couple of pages here. We had looked at the Spotify page. Don't forget on Facebook, it's Java Brent Music. You can find him on Facebook if that's how you do want to do it. And
Sure.
we should be seeing your Reverb Nation page. There it is. So Brent on Reverb Nation, as you can see up in the URL, hopefully, that's Brent Ellison. ReverbNation.com/Brent Ellison. And out here is where you see a lot of the featured links that we talked about. A couple of great pictures there. An overview, and the 5 songs that you're recommending right now are Beautiful Days. That's the one I was talking about. It Was Worth It, a wonderful song about parents looking back over the life of their child, just really heart-touching. My Hope Is in You, a great front porch song about grandma, just wonderful, a really slice of life song, front porch swing, and Think of You. So if you're looking for Brent on Reverb Nation, that's reverbnation.com/Brent Ellison. Did you want to say anything else about any of your online presence, Brent?
Oh no, thank you, thank you.
All right, good. Thank you. All right. So, our guest this week on Songwriters Alive with Tom Cooney has been Brent Ellison, Greater Philadelphia singer-songwriter, pianist, all-around nice and wise person, and funny. And just really, really happy to have him here. We're here every Monday night with an episode on rockingthevalley.com. You'll see it linked off of Tom Cooney on Facebook, my page as well. I do edit a quick video within a week or so after this to make sure that those permanent visuals to links and other pages that you've seen tonight, that this gets recorded in a video you can go back to see. That will be on my YouTube page, Tom Cooney, and I'll post to let you know when that edit is done. Another wonderful songwriter. Thank you for sharing all of your music with everyone. And it's just great talking with you as well. Appreciate it.
Thank you for having me. It's been wonderful.
Good. What were you thinking of sharing with folks as you take us out tonight?
A Texas song.
All right.
Texas song. I was driving with my friend Sherry and Rosella, and Sherry started telling us a story of someone who was caring for a friend with breast cancer, and I said, hand me a bar, piece of paper, and a pen, and that turned into this song. This goes out to a friend in a similar situation right now. The stars are crying tonight. I can see their pain in your eyes. Far away in the silence, I hear a lonesome turtle dove calling your name. Let me kiss the pain from your eyes. Let me wipe the worries from your brow. Lay your head on my shoulder. Come, let me hold you close and just be quiet now. Come sit by the window and watch the silver clouds go sailing across the sky. So peaceful in the moonlight, I love the way it makes you glow like an angel, sweet moonlight angel. Every day that you spent with me is a gift I'll treasure all my life. And no matter what tomorrow brings, I'll be here with you, right here with you. So come and lay down beside me and let me hold you close and sing you a song and tell you how much I love you. Could you ever know, my darling angel, sweet moonlight angel? Let me kiss the pain from your eyes. Let me wipe the worries from your brow. Lay your head on my shoulder. Come, let me hold you close and just be quiet now. I hear a lonesome turtle dove.
Wow, that's beautiful. That's beautiful.
Thank you, Tom.
Thank you so much for sharing all of your music tonight. This has been Songwriters Alive with Tom Cooney. Our special guest this week has been Brent Ellison. Make sure you reach out and track down his music. It is a great mix of soulful and spiritual and homey and swinging and Texas-like when it needs to be, and a versatile musician. And it has just been great having you here. I've enjoyed this very much.
Thank you so much.
All right, wonderful. Hey, Steve Jones back in the studio. Are you ready to pop in on us yet? We're at...
So, but anyway, Brent, you're great. You're wonderful. Tom, you get some really good guests.
We've got some great songwriters. Steve, thank you very much, and we're very excited. Alyssa Dodge, the young singer-songwriter from the Upper Perk Valley area, is our guest next week. She's been at it for a few years, even though she's young. Folks are really going to enjoy that episode. Steve Jones, I want to thank you and Rocking the Valley. Steve back in the studio. Tony Dumont, thanks again for all your great tech stuff back in the studio. Thank you.